Hi all, welcome back to the cooking channel, and tonight I'm going to be making some Victoria sponge. It is a classic cake, so I thought I might as well make that and do something fun. So it's part of the British playlist that I'm going to have up at some point, so it will go on there and it will also go on the cakes list and then some other little bits as well. So I'll just jump to the ingredients as to what we need. So for this recipe you're going to need some eggs, you're going to need some self-raising flour, some caster sugar, some butter and some vanilla. So for this recipe you're going to need equal amounts of everything, which is fantastic. At least then we're not going to worry about weighing out different weights of everything. So first thing I'm going to measure is the caster sugar and the butter. So we'll get that bit in. So we're going to need 225 grams of caster sugar. That's 1, that's 2, and that's 225 there. Next thing we're going to need is 225 grams of butter. So I'll just get my big spoon out and get that in. That's 100. Oh, technical difficulties. That's 200, so literally a tiny bit more there. You can use spread for this, or you can use proper butter. If you do use spreads like I'm doing, then it does tend to not last as long, the cake, but I can't imagine the cake lasting that long anyway if other people are eating it. What we'll do is we'll get this added into the bowl, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do another step. Now, you can either do the all-in-one method as I described in the carrot cake last time, or what you can do is you can do the creamer method, which is what I'm going to do, and then it'll be a case of you can follow along with that one, but it does take a long time, so it'll just be a case of you have to be patient with it. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to get this cream together, so we'll just show you a bit of the mixer. Obviously, mind your ears. Not too bad. So the whole plan is to get the sugar and the butter all creamed together so it changes in colour. So I'll do that for a few minutes and then I'll come back to you to show the results. So once you've been mixing for a while, it should look a little something like this. So this is a lot lighter in colour and it is a lot fluffier. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the eggs in one at a time, just to stop it from scrambling completely. Also as well, in terms of the mixing, if you do it with a hand mixer like I've got, or if you've got a machine, or if you do it by yourself, that's completely fine. It's probably going to take a little bit longer if you do it by hand, but at least then, you know, you put your effort into your cake and at least you deserve a slice then. So that's the first egg in the bowl. There's not much change at the moment, but it's got a little bit smoother, but we'll go from there. Also, now would be a good time to preheat your oven, so you will be looking at 180 normal, 160 fan and gas mark 4 for anything else. So this is what you're going to be left with after doing 2 eggs. So it does look like it's starting to curdle a little bit. That's just the fat in the egg reacting to the butter. So the best thing to do is, with your weighed out flour, which is 225 grams again, just add in a little bit. That's probably like a tablespoon. So that will just be a case of you mix that in, and then that basically brings it all back together. And then it'll be a case you can just keep adding your eggs then. And if it keeps happening, just keep adding that in. So now after the whisking, that's a lot smoother. So I'm going to add my last 2 eggs in, and then I'm going to show you the next step. So this is it after adding the 4 eggs. Now I know it looks a little bit like scrambled eggs, but trust me, it will make the best cake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to incorporate the rest of the flour in now. So best thing to do is to do this in probably half. And then what we're going to do is we're going to fold the flour in. Now if you want to do this with a stand mixer, or if you want to do it by hand all in one go, then I'm not going to blame you. It is a lot easier, but just for me, I like to do this because it tends to make a little bit of a fluffier cake. I will see that at the end and just see what it does turn out like. So what I'll do is I'll jump back once I've got all the flour in, then we can go from there then. So now this is what it looks like after all the flour's been incorporated, so it's a little bit less like scrambled eggs now. If yours does end up looking a bit like that, don't worry. It will come together in the oven, I promise. So next thing I'm going to add is some baking powder, and then we're going to move on to adding our vanilla, and then we're done. So the white powder in there is your baking powder, as I was just discussing before. That's just 2 level teaspoons of baking powder. This will help the cake rise a lot more in the oven. And then what we're going to do is we'll add the vanilla, and then we can get it in our cake tin. It does call for 2 cake tins. Well, that's normally what you'd do, because you'd normally sandwich the middle of them together. But for me, I'm just going to do it in one, and then we'll slice it in half once it's all cooled. Then we'll go from there. Just a good splash of vanilla. That's like a quarter of the bottle, but hey ho. It'll all taste nice in the end. If you don't like vanilla as much, please don't add as much vanilla. But as I've said before, I love vanilla in a cake, so you might as well have the cake that tastes of something. So yeah, I'm just going to get this all poured into the tin now. So that's the cake all ready to go in the oven. It's had a bit of a pat down just to get rid of most of the major air bubbles. And then it'll be a case of it will bake in the oven. If you're doing it in 2 halves, I would say about 25 minutes, or you can do the skewer test. For this, I'm probably going to do 50. Just double it, because obviously there's double the mixture. I am going to skewer it as well. If your cake does start to brown very quickly, best thing for you to do is to cover the tin in foil, and then it will prevent the cake from browning too quickly, and then that will cook the inside of the cake as well, so you don't end up with a massive slop when you cut it open. So I'm going to whack them in the oven and we'll see how we go. So I've let the cake sit for about an hour and a half. I'm just going to leave it overnight so it cools down completely, and then what we'll do is we'll slice it in the morning, and then we can put the jam in it. So the next step for the cake is to cut it in half. If you've put it in 2 separate pans, then that's completely fine. You can completely miss this step. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them in half, and then we can put the jam in. Next thing you're going to do is add your jam. Now you can go for strawberry, you can go for raspberry, you can go for all different ones. But in this occasion, I'm going with strawberry because that is my favourite one. You can get seedless ones, you can get squirty ones of jam if it makes it easier for you. You can even use apricot jam, you can use N8. That's half a jam gone down the side of the cake. So I'm going to get this smeared on, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put the top on. You can put buttercream in there, you can put cream in there, you can put fresh fruit in there. Just for me, I'm just going to leave it as a jam only one for now. And then we'll sprinkle it with icing sugar, and then it'll be done. Last but not least is the icing sugar. Let's see if we can get this on. And then it'll just be a case of it's ready to serve then. And there you go, ladies and gents, it's all put together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a slice out of it, and then we'll leave it here for this one. So if you have any suggestions, pop me a message or leave a comment below this video, and then it'll be a case of I can have a look and see what I can do. So see you later, and I hope you enjoyed it. Cheers! Just to show you guys the inside, this is what it ended up looking like. So it's quite close knitted all together, but it's still quite moist there. I know that word, I know most people hate it, but yes, it's looking quite good there. So see you later.